Most beautiful area of Scotland. Amazing beauty was so accessible to me as a child in Scotland that I almost took it for granted. My understanding of why 3 million tourists a year from all over the world come to my country and are enthralled by it only really started to take shape when I started traveling in my teens and 20s, swim in a foggy Highland glen, stroll along a rocky shoreline, and take in medieval engineering marvels. Topped off naturally with whiskey. The best man-made and natural attractions in Scotland are incredibly accessible, in addition to being plentiful and remarkable. Scotland is smaller than most states in the United States at less than 31,000 square miles, and it can be traveled from coast to coast in less than a day. Even so, it covers a lot of ground. Expansive lochs and peatlands, quaint fishing villages, culturally rich cities, mountains piled on top of one another, and an abundance of castles to induce castle fatigue. In Scotland, identifying beauty is more about where to begin than where to look. Here are some of my favorite spots in Scotland. 10. The Flow Country. You can traverse the desolate northern regions of Scotland, such as Caithness and Sutherland, for miles without encountering a single person or any indication of human settlement. It's breathtakingly alone, like having the whole plain and mountains to yourself. Nevertheless, the so-called Flow Country, the world's largest bog at more than 1,500 square miles, will be vital to humankind's survival. Massive amounts of carbon have been stored for thousands of years in the moist peatlands made of plant remnants. It is anticipated that a multi-decade journey to attain UNESCO World Heritage classification and preservation will culminate in 2024. 9. Ben Nevis. Make it the largest Scottish mountain you can if you're going to climb one, right? Ben Nevis, the highest summit in Britain at 4,411 feet, should always be approached with caution. However, be aware that achieving this Munro, as Scotland's 282 mountains rising beyond 3,000 feet are known, does not require you to be an extremely skilled climber. If you're in good shape, the climb is very simple. Plan on spending between 6 and 9 hours total and leave early enough to reach the steep summit with plenty of good daylight. You may see 360 degrees panoramic views that go all the way to Northern Ireland on a clear day. Otherwise, it's worthwhile. 8. Dunnottar Castle. Scotland includes castles of diverse sizes, shapes, and states of ruin, as well as ones that are still inhabited. Over 1,500 in all of the combined age of more than a millennium. Constructed throughout the 15th and 16th centuries, the ruins overlook the North Sea from a 160-foot rocky ledge encircled by cliffs. Previously serving as the stronghold of the Earls Marischal, one of Scotland's most influential families, the remains were stripped of their titles during the abortive Jacobite uprising in 1715. Exploring Dunnottar's ruins with sweeping views of the sea is an incredibly beautiful experience. In the 17th century, Oliver Cromwell's troops were rumored to have concealed the Scottish crown jewels here. 7. Loch Katrine. Though it may not be as enormous as Loch Ness or the nearby Loch Lomond, the fabled Loch Katrine in the Trossachs offers an unforgettable, memorable experience on and around one of Scotland's many well-known inland waterways. Secluded and evocative, this location is cut off from the outer world and encircled by massive mountains. It was so exquisite that Gioacchino Rossini's opera La Donna del Lago and Sir Walter Scott's poem The Lady of the Lake were both influenced by it. Rob Roy MacGregor, the legendary Scots bad boy, was born on the northern side of the loch, and for more than 150 years, Glasgow, located 30 miles south, has used it as a reservoir. The Victorian waterworks, which are still in use today, are a marvel of engineering. Not only can you see the Victorian waterworks in operation, but you can also take a cruise next to the SS Sir Walter Scott riverboat, which has a bar on board. Or just take a concrete path along the northern shore and walk or ride. 6. The Small Isles. Scotland's islands, many of which are located off its west coast within the Hebridean archipelago, are almost as well known as its Highlands. The small isles of the Inner Hebrides, Canna, Eigg, Muck, and Rum, offer something different from the larger islands of Harris and Lewis, Skye, and Mull, which may draw the greatest number of visitors. Our best choice? Eigg is the most populated tiny island. With fewer than 100 residents, Eigg is a fascinating study of sustainable living and community ownership. It also boasts a gorgeous beach called Singing Sands. Canna, a town of only 15 people, boasts breathtaking cliffs and ancient archaeological ruins, while Rum is designated as a national nature reserve. On the ferry there, you might be lucky enough to see seals, dolphins, and perhaps whales. 5. V and at Dundee. Fascinating exhibitions on a wide range of topics, including video games, tartan, and the City of Discovery, have been brought to the area by the First Design Museum in Scotland and the First Victoria and Albert Museum outside of London. To feel its impact, though, you don't even have to go inside the strikingly angular structure designed by Japanese architect Kengo Kuma and modeled after the cliff faces of eastern Scotland. in stark contrast to the well-known polar explorer steamship RS Discovery, which was built in Dundee and is berthed on the Tay next door. The V&A has contributed to the revitalization of the entire waterfront area of the city and offers a visionary but encouraging picture of a Scotland that embraces its past while embracing its future. Take a seat at the pop-up outdoor cafe and enjoy a summer beer by the water, and you could be in Copenhagen or New York. 4. The Cairnwell Pass. The Cairnwell Pass is the highest main route in the United Kingdom and the southern entrance to Cairnmornes National Park. It stretches from Glen, Perthshire past the mountain ski resort of the same name to the charming Victorian village of Braemar, Aberdeenshire. The drive up is very amazing. If you're feeling particularly active, you can also walk or ride a bike up. The land sweeps quickly upward, and before you know it, you're hundreds of meters above sea level, looking back down at the glen below. It's a real moment of arrival in the Scottish Highlands with an abrupt and intense sense of change. Your ears pop when you quickly descend back down. Very stimulating content. 3. Crail Harbour. Crail is undoubtedly the most picturesque of a series of quaint, historic fishing villages and settlements along the east new coast of Fife. Its picture-perfect harbor, a crescent of tide-washed sandstone behind sheer cliffs that protect a small fleet of boats and worn fishing creels piled along the piers, is one of the main reasons for this. Magnificent antique cottages with stepped gables protrude at sharp angles from the hillside above. Although the harbor is not nearly as bustling as it was during the height of the herring boom in the late 19th century, a few fishing boats continue to operate, bringing in live lobster and crab, which you may purchase directly from the boat from Rayleigh's Shellfish, an iconic old harborside shack. 2. Fingal's Cave. A poem by Sir Walter Scott refers to the mighty surge that ebbs and swells, and is based on his visit to Fingal's Cave on the Inner Hebridean island of Staffa in 1810. The poem captures the roar of the sea and is intensified by the enclosure that resembles a cathedral. Centuries of poetry, music, writing, painting, and filmmaking have been influenced by this 60-million-year-old geological marvel. Accessible by boat during more favorable weather or on foot across shattered rock pillars, Fingal's Cave is a sensory overload. Shards of sea light pierce the deep darkness. A kaleidoscope of colors envelops you and sound echoes off the walls and ceiling. You may call this place the site of nature's symphony, as the wind and waves force air into and out of the cave, producing booms and rumbles. Indeed, it is as poetic as it seems. 1. Edinburgh Old Town. Scotland is one of the least populous countries in Europe, but for centuries, people have crowded into Edinburgh's medieval core so densely that they have stacked buildings on top of one another. Edinburgh's Old Town, which stretches from Edinburgh Castle at the top of the Royal Mile to Holyrood Palace at its base, is a wonderful mystery trip through Scottish urban history, hugging a sloping sheet of rugged volcanic rock. Its maze-like network of cobblestone lanes, winding alleys, winds, and terraces conceal remnants of an underground metropolis beneath a metropolis, as well as abrupt, expansive vistas of the Auld Reekie skyline and old-fashioned secret bars. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below, and don't forget to make sure to like and subscribe for further travel ideas. Thank you for coming along with us on this once-in-a-lifetime journey, and until we meet again, may you continue to discover the marvels that the world has to offer.